Ray Knight.
Who do you work for?
I work for Reynolds School District number 7 in Gresham, Oregon.
And how long have you been working here for?
This is my second year as a bus driver.
Who got you into it?
My wife has been driving for the Reynolds District for 14 years, and after I decided to retire from my corporate job, this seemed like something good to do for a part-time activity and kind of give back to the neighborhood that we've lived in for a number of years. So enjoy doing it.
Makes sense. So, how have you liked your routes so far?
It's been good. I have a good route. It has a good flow. There's a fair amount of traffic, but it's definitely an improvement over what I had in the 2023-2024 school year. Some of the kids are the same, quite a few new kids. Several of the routes that I drive are special needs students where they just need a little bit of extra help, and I enjoy working with those kids. It's just good to feel like you're giving something back.
Dispatch to 555, dispatch to 555.
What was your corporate job?
My last position, I was a project manager for a company that manufactured giant steel structures, bridges, ships. The company was called Vigor, and they own the shipyard down at Swan Island in North Portland, and they have yards all over the West Coast, and take on just about any large project you can think of, from, like I say, bridges to ships, ship repair, all kinds of military projects, including structures for submarines, things like that. So pretty diverse group. My technical background was as a manufacturer, fabricator, engineer, so have done a lot of different things.
Well, that's pretty cool. So now let's get into your racing career. When did you start that?
Oh, I started racing when I was actually about 9 years old. Started racing go-karts, and we purchased a go-kart that my dad, my younger brother, and myself all shared, and we started just going to the track on weekends and driving laps, and I seemed to have a pretty strong aptitude toward racing fast and being able to drive competitively, and so I kind of started moving up through the ranks. Then by the time I was about 14 years old, I started riding dirt bikes and progressed from trail riding to racing motorcycles on motocross, and then met a still to this day good friend who was involved in flat track or dirt track racing. There was a lot of local activity back in those days, and so I switched from motocross over to flat track and did that for a number of years, eventually turned professional.
Yeah, they've been notified.
And once I got married, it just didn't seem like the best thing to do, so tried to settle down a little bit. Got a regular job, and just a couple of years after, I got back into go-karts and ultimately ended up owning a karting business where we were a dealership. We manufactured components, manufactured karts, and we sold and serviced stuff all over the United States, and did that for 28 years.
That's really cool.
Yeah, during that time, my son became one of the top national drivers in karting, was very close to moving up into Indy cars, had run several different professional series prior to that, starting from the time he was 16 years old. And so I swung my attention to helping him out working on his equipment and taking care of that. Plus, our karting business didn't allow me to race karts anymore. So at that point, I built a NASCAR super late model stock car and raced it for a few years out at Portland Speedway until they switched the track over to dirt track, which I really didn't have any interest in. And by then, our business was going so strong that I had to make a choice. I sold the race car and just went to 100% business. And in 2008, we closed the business down. My wife had health issues, and the economy was going in a real bad direction where it was really affecting our business and the ability for people to have disposable income. So I closed that and went to work for some guys that I had met up in Washington that were manufacturing mining equipment. They built the equipment for one of the largest gold mines in the world and in North America down in Mexico, and I oversaw the manufacturing of all of that, and then just stayed in manufacturing from then on. That kind of had been my background, so right on up till I retired from Vigor. So you know, a lot of different stuff.
428, what's your ETA to RHS?
Just one second. Can you repeat that one, please?
So who would you say is your favorite driver right now in NASCAR?
Driver right now is Kyle Busch.
I'm guessing part of the reason is because he also is like training his son.
Yeah, that's a part of it. I mean, he's a good family man. He takes care of his son, his wife. He's got a daughter now. But I've always, you know, appreciated the fact that Kyle told it like it was. If he wasn't happy, he let it be known. If he was happy, he let that be known. But he was always a pretty fair driver.
62 is running late. We've called the school multiple times and they're aware.
Raced other competitors clean, but he also expected 120% of himself all the time, which was much like my attitude on the racetrack. Anytime I got into a race, whether it was motorcycles, go-karts, stock cars, I went to win, and that was the goal. So you know, I put out maximum effort to, you know, do what I could to make that happen. And Kyle, you know, is a young guy, still extremely competitive, but I just have a lot of respect for what he has done, the way he came up through racing, and he did it on pure talent, did not have a ton of money behind him, unlike some of the modern day drivers, and he earned his way to where he is now.
Have you ever been out to like the tracks like Bristol?
No, I've been back east one time, and it was we were looking at becoming dealers for a manufacturer of some race cars that were built back in Pennsylvania. Went to a couple of fairly major dirt track races, but with all of the stuff that I've done, I've never got to personally view a NASCAR Cup Series event. So that's kind of on my bucket list. One of these days I'm going to make a trip and go see some place like Bristol or Martinsville for sure.
So I'm guessing you're more into short tracks than the super speedways?
For the most part,
They'll be leaving a lot outside of Gresham, so we're probably 30 to 45 minutes out.
the short track racing is more of a driver's event. Car setup is real important.
901 North Columbia Boulevard, in front of a white building with a business name of Perfect Vision.
But yeah, short track racing is a driver's deal. Super speedways are about 95% the car. Depending on the proper setups, aerodynamics, horsepower, all of that stuff plays a huge factor. The driver pretty much aims the car and, just has to keep out of trouble, in super speedway racing. So they're vastly different formats.
So do you think they should remove like a lot of the engine restrictors, let the drivers kind of like do what they want with their engines?
I would like to see NASCAR allow more freedom with the teams to be able to do what they want to do to build speed within given parameters of the car, instead of controlling right down to every nut and bolt that goes on it. I think it's kind of damaged the integrity of the racing. It's put undue stress and pressure on the teams to do things that would be out of character for them, and it's not the best look for the sport overall right now.
Batch 2 shop truck, Jason. Perfect vision that you're looking for.
That's
in the
it?
parking lot.